peoples of Turtle Island. Some people may or may not have heard of that before, but Turtle Island is the original name of the United States and Canada and even in parts of Mexico from the indigenous people that lived there at that time. Before we begin, just really quickly, I wanted to give you a couple of terms that were going to be used. So when we speak, thank you. So when we speak, we may hear people talk about, Indians. They may be called Indigenous, Aboriginals. So what's the correct name? And in general, self-identification is the key. Why don't you just ask them, okay? So in general, let them tell you what you'd like to be called. So for example, a common name is like Native American is used a lot. We also have American Indians, Indigenous, and some of them may not align with how somebody feels about himself. So for example, the Navajo refer to themselves as the Dene, all right? So not the Navajo. Also, we have things like in Canada and where they have little different names and they've changed over time. So they have things like First Nations, First Peoples, Indigenous, and Aboriginal, and that's what they'll say in Canada. But here in the US, we often say Native American or American Indian. Now, not everybody likes that because some indigenous people, they don't like to be referred to as American because they feel this was, and rightly so, this was their native land and taken away. Native American doesn't describe who I am. Okay, so same thing with American Indian. That one, it just depends. You have to ask. In general, the safe term, I think, is just to say indigenous, and that refers to people from all over the world. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to go back to this map that we had. We're going to meet the people of Turtle Island today, and my students in IEL 006, a Native Studies course for students who are learning English, are going to share what they've learned this semester about the different peoples of different regions. So I think we're going to start off with Alexa and Mahmoud, is that right? And we're going to go over the native peoples of the southwest parts of the United States. So Yola Mahmoud.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
You're welcome.
My name is Alexa and Mimo, and today I am present from Apache Indians. The Apache Indians were Native Americans from the southwest from the United States. They were skilled hunters and warriors, organized in tribes like be respect leaders. The Apache fiercely defend their lands and way of life against colonization. This is the location for the Apache Indians. You can see in the map too.
It was here in Southwest, so it's very close to Mexico.
Yeah. One leader is Victorio. Was a Mescalero and Chirico Apache leader known for his bravery and military strategy. He led during Victory's War. The war is with the militaries in 1879 and 1880. No, 880. Victory is remembered as a symbol of the Apache fight for freedom and their determination to protect their land and culture. And the language from the Apache people is the Apache people speak language from the Tabascan family, common from Alaska to the southwest United States. Each tribe, like the Chiriquoa and Mescalero, had its own dialect. Their language perceived
Take this one.
tradition. Their language perceived tradition, stories, and cultural wisdom. Today efforts are made to revitalize and protect Apache language. The lifestyle were nomadic hunters and gatherers adapting to the desert of southwest United States and North Mexico. They lived with cubes, simple shelters made of wood or grass. Easy transportation. Their, their diet include deer, buffalo, and desert plants, reflecting their or deep connection to naturalism.
So after all of this, you know who they are, who's their leader, where they are live, how's their language, how they was hunting. So and this fact where they live, like why they was hunting. So the desert they was in southwest between America and Mexico. So that's why hunting is one what their lifestyle. So what happened to them next? Due to colonization between Mexico and conflict, what happened in Mexico, Spanish and American force to displace them from their area. Right now they moved away from, they moved in the southwest, so live very close to Mexico, between Texas, Arizona. That's yeah. Also, they still the same. They share the same culture, the same. They do everything. They stay the same. Like they doesn't change. I don't know. There's something. Can you say?
This is something photos from the Apache Indians. He's hunter, and he is the tribe, the leader. This is like the lifestyle, the houses, the little tribe, and I think that's it. Anybody have a question?
Armando, you have a question? Everything's good?
Thank you for listening.
Bravo, bravo. It's in the French.
Very nice. Good. A little quiz here.
Yes.
Work. So they spoke a lot of different languages, so they had many different dialects, not just
Back
one
to
language
tribe.
that they spoke.
Where does he live?
Yeah. And what were they famous for?
Hunting.
Yes, and then, but they were famous what else?
For their
Fighters. They were warriors. Yeah, definitely. They were well known for that. Yeah, and the leader, Victorio, led really a valiant fight against overwhelming forces. So very brave. And these peoples, like you said, they're still here. They're not gone. They're still here, and they're living in the Southwest. And if you travel, you can visit some of these places.
After all what happened, they still keep their culture, language, and traditions.
Yes. And since
It's
you
not easy.
mentioned
It's not easy.
language,
It's not easy for not familiar with a new, like, what after all happened.
there are many languages, and that's a good point, Mahmoud, is that people think of Indians speaking, Indian language or something, but there's many languages, and these are just major groups with different dialects among them. These are most of these still alive, but many native or indigenous languages have died off over the years, right, without speakers left.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good job.
So who gonna come next? يلا شباب.
Okay, so it's my pleasure to introduce the one, the only, Mina!
Thank you.
Right, all the way from Vietnam. She's such a great student. All my students are very creative, and we're really happy to have her present. All right, Yola Mina.
So hello everyone. Hello everyone. My name is Mina, and I'm with my partner Indigenous. Yeah. So today we talk about the indigenous tribe, and we do the Blackfoot tribal. And if the Apache Indian, the strongest aggressive warrior, and Blackfoot also the one of the strongest and the aggressive military power. So firstly, Blackfoot is divided three main branches. Firstly, Piadigan, Blurt, and Sisikar, and they compile together and create Blackfoot Confederacy. And so each branches will have one chief or more than 12, and the famous chief is Crawford chief. He was born in 1830 to 1890. He is warrior, and he also like a big involvement in Treaty 7 after the European coming. And so the early history about the Blackfoot isn't clear because some researchers, based on the material culture, they found that Blackfoot migrated from the Great Lake to the plains, but later then some archaeologists, based on their research and based on also the material culture on the plains, they found that they was there before 16th century, and they was live longer than the first findings. And this is one of the most common like place they live. It's called teepee. It's like a tent, but it's I don't know. It's called teepee, and Blackfoots lived as the nomads. They live by hunting animal and grass food, and they live on moving. They also, as a pedestrian, the buffalo hunters. The buffalo is a main resources food for them, and so its brands will divide to play, to move, and gather and hunting. But in the summer, they will gather together, and it's called like to attend the events called Sundance. It's the time for them to express their beliefs about the natural. Sundance is a religious ceremony, and this time they will express their beliefs about the nature, the readers, and the universals. So I think the language is the same. It's the same with all tribes in the indigenous, but Lightfoot have the different language. It's not the different. It's the same. I mean, so it's a Sisikai powering, and you can see you guys can see this one is a Blackfoot. It also means Blackfoot. So right now I will talk about the weapon. So they make weapon by wooden and about the like shark, the stone, and they make this all. So one thing I find interesting about the Blackfoot is that so Blackfoot, like after the Ibrahim come and they make a treaty, the first treaty, the Blackfoot prevent the British, the American, and the French they supposed to be as the brothers to capturing the beaver on the plain. It's really famous animal and is lost in the plains, and others like the European come and trapping them by sailing and trading, and Blackfoot have a strong military powers and they prevent this. But later on, after the first treaty, they need to move around because Europe come and take land from them. And the sadly thing, the unfortunately is that the population of Blackfoot is declined because when they're moving, they have the starvation because they move another plain. It doesn't have buffalo for them to hunt, and then they starve and die. They also have conflict with the settle was living there, the new lands. And so according to like my researching, it's found that right now in 2019 is 35,000 members reported in Canada, US, and Alberta. But right now in 2023 is only 25% of 25,000 members. Like the population is the number of people are declined. And about the language, I also I also found that like the language is also is like almost disappear. Like no more people speak Sisikai Powahim language anymore. So it's sadly that. And that's all my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Oh, that was amazing. Thank you, Mina. Thank you so much. Good, good. And she made some really deep connections there. When we talk about people who came over hunting beaver, the Hudson Bay Trading Company were very, very influential in the kind of, colonization of the Americas. And those are great points. Awesome. Thank you, Mina. Good, good. Thank you. You can just put them up over here. All right, Montesor, I see you rising from the depths to come over and help us with the Samis? Yes? All right, nice job. I'm so impressed with you. If I had to do this in a second language, in Spanish or in Korean, it would be so hard to do. It's just amazing what you guys do. All right, so it is on. When you speak, about right up to the thing.
Okay.
Oh, let me introduce you guys. That's okay. All right, so once again, we have some really, really great students here. We have Andrew, the great Andrew from Egypt, and we have Montefer. Where are you from? Jordan. How do you say it?
Jordan. Almundar.
Almundar. Yeah, it doesn't look like that when you Almundar. I've only known you for like how long now, and I still say his name now. Almundar. I got it now. And we have the great Sujun, all the way from China, right? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, and good luck, guys. Break a leg.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sujin, and I'll be talking about the Sami people. This picture is for the Sami people, the old picture, and they live in is for now have some little Sami people living in the arcade. It's just closet, and they speaking is the. No, they in the English, some people they're talking about like the Olympic Atlantis, but they don't like this. Because they feeling about the talking is very bad, so they won't like they love it. The other name is the Sami, and this is the Sami flag. Yeah, and.
Yeah, I'm gonna start talking about the Sami people where they are was in Arctic, then they separate away because they're European, and they was in Norway. They are in Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia, United States, and Ukraine right now. I'm gonna talk about the culture. There's a clothes for Sami people. That's Sami people from Sweden now. That's a picture about it. I'm here about the craft, what they do. They craft a knife, a belt, and here's the Sami people language. Something interesting, Sami people language that they are start talking from the right to left, like Arabic. That's one of thing. Yeah, they speak Fonuyuji, is the language there, and Andrew will talk about.
The Sami's people was famous for they was fishing and hunting and farming, and they was render herding, and I think they was engineers, so they was design buildings, and they a symbol of the buildings they was making, and yeah, and they was Zimland was name is Arctic. I think it was in the north. It was near to Antarctica. Antarctica, so it was cold. That's if we see this picture, they was wearing heavy clothing because it was very cold in there. And yeah, and that's it. Question?
I have a question. So,
Good point about diaspora, so where the people have gone. Right now on like Facebook or YouTube, there's a lot of their music is really hot. They're like playing the traditional music and you can see videos of it. And it's interesting when you hear them speak, there's a little bit of it seems like a blend between some of the, maybe Ukraine or Russian language and then their indigenous language, and it has a really interesting flavor to it. So anyway, beautiful job, you guys. I really appreciate your hard work this semester. Nice job, you guys.
I have a question.
We have a question from Mahmoud. Hi, Mahmoud.
so thank you guys first for what you say. So you make it something different. You start from where they are from, and then you pack to pack. So we can say from they live in a different country. Did they simulate? That means they simulate and how they moved from America. They're displaced, or what happened to them? If you have any information.
So again, his question is, so when they moved, did they assimilate? So like when they went to Norway, did they become like Norwegians, adopt the language and the culture, or did they kind of maintain their traditional clothing? And
because the Sami people, the first time is that live in the very north. They just not moving very far because they close the clothing. Yeah. The circle just close it. That one. They just maybe in here don't have a fish. Can get a farmer. Maybe then move a little bit and move a little bit. So just maybe for now it's moving very far. Yeah.
he answered your
Thank you
question
so much.
very well, Mahmoud.
Thank you so much.
He nailed it. Yeah, because they're going around the Arctic Circle and they're nomadic and they're moving around. So no, they're not hanging out.
They didn't move very too fast.
Thank
Any
you. dude.
question?
Thank you.
All right, beautiful job, you guys. Thank you so much. All right, a big otra, Yola. Muy bien. Go ahead and put it up. We have one more, and then we have. We have one more poster, and then we have a very special guest. Dave Lewis is going to speak to us to conclude. Okay, he's our guest from
Yalla.
another college.
جميلة جميلة يلا قبل طب اسمع يلا اجي معاكي
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Tuha.
All right, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't introduce her. I was trying to get up another student. But this is the very, very wonderful Jamila, who hails from Palestine. And we're lucky enough to have her now here living in the U.S. with us. So grateful to have her. Thank you.
Hello everyone. My name is Jamila, and the tribe that me and my partner, the one, searched for is the Mohegan tribe. It's I'm going to talk about the chief of this tribe. She's an American. Her name is Marlene Robridge. She's an American tribal leader and a former nurse, and she's the first woman that had this position in the old history. So this tribe is special because, like, no other tribes had a woman chief. And one thing that the tribe is known for is fishing. Fishing was a traditional profession and craft which was for the Mohegan tribe was famous, and they also hunted various of animals such as deers and birds. And this is the Mohegan symbol. It refers to the people of the wolf. Back in history, they used to call the people of the Mohegan tribe the wolf people, or the people of the river mouth. And their language it's the part of the Olo, I don't know. Olo, Algo, Algo,
Algonquin, sorry.
Algonquin languages. It was widely known and used among the tribes, but since the European came and after the colonization, it disappeared. And their geographical area, it was historically based in central southern Connecticut, originally part of the Picute people. And this thing is called ukaj. It's traditionally referred to a traveling food that was made by the Mohegan tribe. And historically, the Mohegan warriors used to carry it. It's a parched corn. They used to carry it in small quantities with them. So, like they used to put it in a deer skin at the waist of Mohegan warriors and hunt it to eat it in wars. That's it.
Jamila, thank you so much. Excellent job on that. And good point about they had their tribal leader was female. But actually something you should know is that when the colonists or the Europeans came over, that the elders who chose the chief of each tribe were actually women. So the women would actually pick the chief. The chief was there at their behest. If they didn't like him, well, then they'd get rid of him. When the Europeans came over, they didn't want to talk to these, elderly women. No, we want to talk to the chief. And one thing that they did was to give power and money to a chief, and that helped to divide and conquer people. So that's an interesting topic that we have here. Okay.
Maybe
so
that's why the languages
yes.
disappear.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe that's why the language disappear.
Well, yeah, there's many reasons why language disappeared, but yeah, the disbursement of the people will definitely happen. Okay, we're getting a little bit lower on time. I want to make sure that I save some time for my very, very special guest. This is Dave Lewis, and we got to know each other in Toronto this summer when we attended a global institute about First Nations peoples and others. So, Yazan, did you guys want to, I forgot about you guys. You going? Yola Yazan or what? I'm sorry, Dave, one more second, I have one more presentation. I'm sorry, you guys, I thought that was everybody. I'm sorry. It's okay, they look really happy to do it too. All right, hang on one second. Sorry, Dave. All right, California, our favorite, right? Okay, sorry, go ahead. Whoa.
Hello everyone. We will talk about California, especially Chuma.
I want to start about the map. This map, like for Comish, a Native American of the central and southern coastal region of California, the tribe is divided into geographic groups to the words like Epsilon and Earthmen and Yinzo and Venturino.
Here clothes, this clothes they Chumash people they wear. Okay, hair tools shell beads. It's a traditional form of jewelry that was an important culture and economy item for Chumash.
And like for arts, the Comish people were very talented and artists. Example of wind is rock art to tie painting on canvas and mountains.
Their language, Chumash people, they speak in this language.
For like this picture for a boat, like it was the most important tool of the Comish people used for hunting, trade, travel, and blade road. in forming relationships with other tribes along the California coast.
Yes.
And the houses, houses for each Kamish family lived in house called an Ab village would have many such dwellings.
All right, thank you. Good, is that it? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, excellent job. Okay, great point. And then about the shell beads and stuff, when I lived in California when I was young, that was a really cool thing to have. They had puka shells, maybe something a little bit different, but like a shell necklace. And yeah, they're famous for making those. Good, yes, excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, great job. All right, thank you. Oh, yeah, you can leave it up here. Either way, that's fine. Okay, sorry, Dave. This time for real. So this is my good friend Dave. I met, like I said, in Toronto.
Welcome.
He's going to talk a little bit about, he's a business professor from College of Lake County, or Oakton County, Oakton College. Oakton College, okay. Oh, good, because that Lake College, that's not a good college. Oakton College is good, so yeah, I'm glad. Now I feel better, so. Anyway, thank you for coming. And he's going to talk a little bit for us, okay? And we have handouts, too?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Okay. From Oakton?
This is the first one, this is the second one.
All right, and you'll tell me when to hand them out? This is the first one, this is the second one?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, I got that one. All right, thank you, Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave Lewis. I'm a business professor over at Oakton Community College, actually, Oakton College. Oh, at Oakton College. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? You hear me? Okay. All right.
You're good.
Yeah. My glasses. I actually grew up in this area. I grew up around 87th and Cicero. So this is kind of my old neighborhood in a way. My mom still lives in the neighborhood where I grew up. My wife is a school social worker in the North Palos School District. She's at the Dorn School. I don't know if you're familiar with Dorn. It's just down the road from here. Anyway, so I have some roots in this general area. I think what I want to talk about, it's not necessarily directly related to all this. I think why is the study of this important? And I think it has to do with what I like to call historical grit. There's a tendency in our country to selectively remember what took place over time. And I think it's important to really validate what actually happened for the sake of the people who have been, who are still part of that culture. My grandparents from my mother's side came from Poland. Actually, it's kind of a complicated story. Both my grandmother and grandfather were born in Chicago, and they went back to Poland as very young children. And they were not allowed to really come back to the United States as a family. And I think if you want to hand out that first sheet, it kind of talks about a law that was passed in the United States in 1924 called the Exclusions Act. And it really prevented immigrants coming from Eastern Europe and Southern Europe, mainly because they were Catholic and because they were also coming from more the brown-skinned countries around the Mediterranean. And it was a dark time in our history, and we don't really learn about that in any of our history classes. And we really didn't know about why did my grandmother come back to the United States by herself along with her sister. My grandmother was only 15 years old, and her sister was 17. And her whole family remained in Poland. And the same could be said about my grandfather's story. And when you look at that, and you realize the struggles and and the efforts they put into making a life for themselves and for their family. That's something I always been able to think about and lean into as a source of pride, but I call that historical grit. And when cultures are prevented from knowing what they endured or went through, that's really a disservice and almost criminal in a way, in my opinion, to not allow people to know what actually happened. I think of a few things. At Oakton, I participated in a deep dive into understanding black culture and understanding the fragmented history of how we remember what took place. And there are so many holes in the stories about what actually happened. Just recently, we've come to know about two events. The Juneteenth holiday that took place in 1865, and there was also an event in Tulsa, Oklahoma, this Black Wall Street event. And for all practical purposes, these were it was intended that these would be erased from our memory and never really brought up again. But they were brought up, and they were actually, brought to the highlight of what was happening. I was traveling with my daughter to Arizona, and we drove through Tulsa to kind of see what that Greenwood area actually looked like. This was a large community back in the turn of the last century. And the Tulsa community went out of their way to kind of almost replace it. What was left of that community is only a small intersection. There's a small museum and a couple of the original buildings. There's like municipal buildings there. There's a minor league ball field. There's an expressway going right through the heart of this district. And then there's high-rise, high-end apartment buildings that were built up all around here. So the idea that this culture, this group of people were prevented from knowing their history is really is a crime, in my opinion. So the study of history as it pertains to certain groups of people is essential. The same thing could be said about Asian Americans. The injustices that took place, let's say during World War II, or even the way they were treated when they were building the railroad out across our country. They were not treated in the same way that other groups of people in our country were treated. And I think history books don't really tell that full story. And there are parts of our country where it is against the law to really talk or teach things that actually happen. And I think that is something to recognize. So by the fact that you're studying these stories about these indigenous groups across our North American continent is really, really important to keep these stories and these historical perspectives alive. When we were in Toronto, we were visiting one of the boarding homes, and one of our narrators was talking about what took place there. But as an aside to the story, I guess one of the, at the time, one of the contestants that was participating in the Miss Universe pageant from Canada, the woman who won this was an Indigenous woman from Canada, and you could tell this was a source of great pride for her. But in an instant, it flipped on its head because there was such negative commentary and rhetoric posted online about this person and the fact that she was an Indigenous person. And I felt that this is the effect of being told that you're not who you really are over time. The lack of having a historical grit in your life gives you this hole that you can't quite fill with other things. And people can really kind of turn you on your head and make you feel bad about yourself in such a negative way. So the study of this material is critical for the sake of all people. I think some of the things that we learned about on our trip, I wrote down one of the things was the redemptive story about Turtle Island. And the story, you know, you think in this culture goes back thousands of years prior to Westerners coming to the shores of North America. And if you hear the story of this redemptive story, it's about a little girl. I mean, the creator, they call God the creator, was looking for someone that was good. And Turtle was the one sacrificing species that brought the little girl up so she could tell the prayer to the creator. And then there was also this muskrat figure in this story that actually sacrificed its life to bring soil up on top of Turtle to create this island so that this little girl can petition the creator to save their people, the world. And I think it's so interesting that it is so similar to the stories we have, let's say, in Islam or Christianity or some of the other traditional religions that we know of. This is a sophisticated culture, sophisticated group of people. Did you have a chance to go to the petroglyphs when you were there? I went to the petroglyphs. This is a ancient area where they would actually carve into stone their stories. And we talk about the sophistication. You know, these people were treated like subhuman or savages. And these stories that they told in these pictures were about their religious beliefs, but there was also stories about how an egg is fertilized with a sperm cell. They also had a picture of a carving of a woman who was pregnant with a birched birth baby in her womb, only so that they could discuss this with somebody about how to handle that. So there was some real thought and intelligence in these people that came into it. And I think the other thing that really struck me was their family structure and how we did this exercise where we kind of formulated a family structure in the indigenous culture with the children, the grandparents, the parents, the tribe elders. And what did it look like from a functional standpoint? And then we had representatives come from, since we were in Canada, the Crown or the British government that said, I don't like the way this looks. You need to go over here. You need to go over here. You can't be doing this anymore. And they split it all apart. And then we continue to hear stories about how that continues to this day. And I found it so critical for us to really pay attention to what's happening. I look at my grit story, and if you look at that little handout there, it tells what happened back then. When my grandparents came, there was a lot of prejudice about people who came from Eastern Europe. And what's the big difference between me and a lot of other people who are discriminated against? My skin color. I'm how many generations removed from that time frame? I'm just one of the other white people that walks around this city. No different than the people that probably wrote those rules back then. And they, quite frankly, they're writing rules like that again now, which is not right. Let's think about that. You know, if we don't study history for what happened, it happens again and we can't recognize it. I remember visiting Andrew Jackson's plantation home. And when we were taking a tour of this plantation, one of the tour guides went out of their way to say, oh, this is where the slaves' quarters were. And oh, by the way, he was a real kind slave owner. And it took me as such a strange thing, and I didn't know how to react to it. So I think that's important. If you understood it or studied it, when they pull it out and show it to you again, you can call it out when it's happening in real time. So I'm going to read to you, our school at Oakton has a land acknowledgement. I have another sheet that I handed out to you, and hold on. On one side, I have all the different acknowledgements we have at Oakton, but on the back, I kind of blown up the land acknowledgement that we have. Oakton College is in the middle of a forest preserve. It's a beautiful campus, almost like Morgan Valley. You know, you just go right down, you know, LaGrange Road. It's fantastic. I remember growing up here, going to the Little Red Schoolhouse and some of the other places around here. So our land acknowledgement at Oakton is this. So I'm going to read it to you. Oakton is the community's college. We recognize that our community embodies a network of historical connections and contemporary relations with Native people, families, students, and alumni. We continue to live and work on the traditional homelands stolen from the many different Native peoples, including but not limited to the, I'm going to pronounce these way wrong, so pardon my pronunciation, the Potawatomi, which is Potawatomi, the Ojibwa, the Adawa, the Kickapoo, the Menominee, the Miami, the Takawa, Tokawaki, the Ho-Chunk nations. Others have settled, cared for this land this land from time immemorially. The land of our Des Plaines campus nurtured a large Potawatomi settlement along the Des Plaines River. This was a site of trade, travel, and gathering for many Native peoples. With the lush forests and vibrant rivers, these communities flourished in beautiful lands of biodiversity and reciprocity. These lands are still home to many Native peoples of many different nations. So I think this is a statement like this is an acknowledgement. I see you, I identify with you. And I think this is something that's all it is. It's a statement of fact. And it validates somebody's existence. I go back to that historical grit. Everybody needs it. I see a lot of people from different places. You have historical grit. Don't ever feel like you don't belong here. Lean into your past. Lean into your family's history. What did they do to get you to this point in your life? That is so important. Just like my grandparents sacrificed so much to get me to my generation and my kids moving on, your families did the same thing. Keep that in mind. Don't let anybody ever not let you lean into your historical grit. And this is what this is all about. So, thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. So again, David Lewis from Oakton Community College, and this is something that they read before maybe a class, before a big event or something, just to make sure everybody feels welcome by acknowledging the past again. Thank you so much and thank you for coming. Are you Mahmoud's buddy or what? Do you know him? All right. Awesome. Mahmoud, he's like the mayor around here. He knows everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And David, thank you for coming all the way out here. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Yallah. Halas. La halas. No, halas. Have a good day. Bye, you guys. Thank you, Rowan and Razan. Everybody. Thank you, librarians.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.